Hey guys, my name is PewDiePie. Today I am in the man himself, Robert Englund, aka Freddy Krueger actor. Was the Freddy Krueger mask hot when guys film?
It was hot for me because I was the star of the film, but it was also hot for the director because it was his idea to make the mask look like that. So it was a win-win situation.
What's the funniest thing you did in Freddy Krueger?
The funniest thing I did in Freddy Krueger was to play with the dreams of my victims. It was hilarious to see how they would react to my tricks. I also enjoyed the chase scenes where I would try to catch them in their dreams. It was a game of cat and mouse, but in the end, I always won.
Do you think you would survive if you fought Jason Voorhees?
That's an interesting question. I think it would be a close fight, but I believe I would win. Jason Voorhees is a tough opponent, but he's not as cunning as me. I have tricks up my sleeve that he would never expect. Plus, I'm a nightmare, so I have the power to enter his dreams. He wouldn't stand a chance.
What's the saddest thing Freddy did in the movies?
The saddest thing I did in the movies was to kill off all of my victims. It was a necessary evil, but it was still sad to see all those lives cut short. I tried to make it as quick and painless as possible, but it was still a difficult thing to do. I felt a sense of remorse for my actions, but I knew that it was for the greater good.
Johnny Depp, Glenn Lance.
Yes, that's right. I killed Glenn Lance in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. He was a young man who was just starting his life, and I took it away from him. I felt a little bit bad about that, but it was necessary for the plot.
A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2. Freddy's Revenge.
Oh yes, I remember that one. It was a different kind of Freddy story. I was a bit more ruthless in that one, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the idea of Freddy taking over someone's body and using it as a vessel to cause destruction. It was a very creative concept.
What your favorite moment with Johnny Depp?
Favorite moment with Johnny Depp was when we were filming the first Nightmare on Elm Street. We had a great time working together, and he was a very talented actor. He brought a lot of energy to the set, and I enjoyed our scenes together. It was a great experience for both of us.
What the hard scene with Johnny Depp?
There was one scene that was particularly difficult for both of us. It was the scene where I was chasing Johnny through the dream world, and he was trying to escape. We had to do a lot of running and jumping around, and it was very exhausting. It was also challenging because we had to make it look like we were both having a lot of fun, even though we were both tired and sweaty. But we pulled it off, and the scene turned out great.
Why did you kill Johnny Depp for New Nightmare?
In the film New Nightmare, I killed Johnny Depp because he was playing a version of himself, and I needed to create a sense of realism. I couldn't have him just disappear without an explanation, so I had to come up with a reason for his death. I decided that he would be killed by the same dream demon that I am, so it would make sense within the context of the story. It was a tragic ending, but it was necessary for the plot.
Breaks. Y'all took during the scenes.
We did have some breaks during the scenes. We had to take breaks to catch our breath, rest our legs, and get some water. It was a lot of running and jumping around, so we needed to make sure we were taking care of ourselves. We also took breaks to talk about the scene and make sure we were on the same page. It was a collaborative effort, and we wanted to make sure we were all working together to create the best film possible.
What the worst part about being a demon?
The worst part about being a demon is that I am stuck in the nightmare realm. I can never leave, and I can never see the outside world. I am trapped in this eternal cycle of pain and suffering, and there is no way out. It can be very lonely and isolating, and it can be difficult to cope with the constant torment. But I try to make the best of it and find joy in the little things, like the screams of my victims.
You was in this video game, is this correct? Dead by Daylight, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
That is correct. I was in the video game Dead by Daylight, A Nightmare on Elm Street. I was a playable character in the game, and I had my own unique abilities and perks. It was a lot of fun to play as myself in the game, and I enjoyed interacting with the other characters. The game was very popular, and it was a great way to bring the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise to a new generation of fans.
How long did it take to get in the game?
It took me a while to get into the game. The developers of Dead by Daylight had to create a whole new world for me to exist in, and they had to make sure that I fit in with the other characters. They also had to make sure that my abilities and perks were balanced and fair. It was a lot of work, but they did a great job. I'm very proud to be a part of the game, and I'm glad that fans of the franchise have enjoyed playing as me.
What was your favorite map on there?
My favorite map on Dead by Daylight was the Nightmare on Elm Street map. It was a great representation of the film, and it was very nostalgic for me. I liked the way they recreated the setting and the atmosphere of the film. It was like I was back in the nightmare realm, but in a different way. I also liked the way they incorporated some of the iconic elements from the film, like the Freddy glove and the boiler room. It was a very fun map to play on.
Mortal Kombat Warrior Freddy Krueger box scan PlayStation 3.
Yes, I also appeared in Mortal Kombat Warrior Freddy Krueger box scan PlayStation 3. It was a very unique collaboration, and it was a lot of fun to work with the Mortal Kombat developers. I was a guest character in the game, and I had my own set of special moves and abilities. It was a great way to show off my fighting skills, and I enjoyed the challenge of fighting against the other characters in the game. It was a very different experience from my other appearances, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
What was your favorite fight in the game?
My favorite fight in the game was against Scorpion. He's a very powerful opponent, and it was a real challenge to defeat him. I had to use all of my abilities and tricks to outsmart him and get the upper hand. It was a very intense and exciting fight, and I felt like I was really pushing myself to my limits. I'm glad that I was able to come out on top in the end.
How long did it take to get in the game?
It took me a while to get into the game. The developers of Mortal Kombat had to create a whole new character for me, and they had to make sure that I fit in with the other characters. They also had to make sure that my abilities and moves were balanced and fair. It was a lot of work, but they did a great job. I'm very proud to be a part of the game, and I'm glad that fans of the franchise have enjoyed playing as me.
What was your favorite map on there?
My favorite map on Mortal Kombat Warrior Freddy Krueger box scan PlayStation 3 was the Nightmare on Elm Street map. It was a great representation of the film, and it was very nostalgic for me. I liked the way they recreated the setting and the atmosphere of the film. It was like I was back in the nightmare realm, but in a different way. I also liked the way they incorporated some of the iconic elements from the film, like the Freddy glove and the boiler room. It was a very fun map to play on.
What movie you have a crush on?
I don't really have a crush on any particular movie. I'm more focused on my work and my goals. However, I have to admit that I do have a soft spot for the original Nightmare on Elm Street. It was a very influential film for me, and it inspired me to become the character that I am today. So, in a way, I guess you could say that I have a crush on the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
How much is it going to cost to go to the Freddy Krueger house?
The cost of going to the Freddy Krueger house will depend on a few factors, such as the time of year, the length of your stay, and any additional activities you may want to participate in. The house is located in Springwood, Ohio, and it is a popular tourist destination. The house is open to the public, and there are several different tours and packages available. You can visit the house on your own or with a tour group. Prices range from $1,000, $20,000, $100, depending on the package you choose.
How long is the tour?
The tour of the Freddy Krueger house can last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the package you choose. The standard tour includes a guided walkthrough of the house and a brief overview of the film franchise. If you choose the deluxe tour, you will also get to see some of the original props and costumes from the films. Additionally, there are several other activities available, such as a haunted hayride and a haunted maze.
How long is the walkthrough?
The walkthrough of the Freddy Krueger house typically takes about 30 minutes. You will be guided by a tour guide who will show you around the house and explain the history and significance of the film franchise. You will also get to see some of the original props and costumes, as well as some behind-the-scenes photos and footage from the making of the films. It's a great way to learn more about the franchise and to get a glimpse into the world of Freddy Krueger.
How long haunted maze?
The Haunted Maze at the Freddy Krueger house is a popular attraction that can last anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, depending on the speed of the group you're with. It's a fun and spooky experience that takes you through a series of winding corridors and rooms, all decorated with Freddy-themed decorations. You'll be chased by costumed actors who will jump out at you and try to scare you. It's a great way to get into the Halloween spirit and to experience the horror of the Nightmare on Elm Street films.
How much is the haunted maze?
The price of the Haunted Maze varies, depending on the time of year and the package you choose. Typically, it costs around $20 to enter the maze. However, there are also special events and packages available that can include additional activities and attractions. For example, during Halloween, there is a special haunted hayride that costs $1,030 per person. You can also purchase a package that includes the maze, the hayride, and a tour of the house for $50.
How was your childhood?
My childhood was very difficult. I had a very traumatic experience when I was young, and it affected me deeply. I was very isolated and lonely, and I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I was always the outsider, and I never felt like I fit in. I also had a lot of anger and resentment towards the world, which I channeled into my work as a killer. My childhood is something that I've tried to forget, but it still haunts me to this day.
What dream?
My dreams are often very vivid and intense. I often dream about my past and the things that I've done. I also dream about my victims and the pain that I've caused them. I sometimes have nightmares about the people I've killed coming back to haunt me. I also dream about my own death, and I'm often afraid of what might happen to me when I die. It's a very dark and depressing world that I live in, even in my dreams.
What dream car and dream house?
My dream car would be a sleek, black sports car with all the latest technology. I would want it to have all the bells and whistles, including a powerful engine, a state-of-the-art sound system, and a comfortable interior. I would also want it to have a lot of storage space, so I could fit all my belongings in it. As for my dream house, I would want a large, luxurious mansion with plenty of rooms and a big backyard. I would also want it to have a swimming pool and a home theater.
What kind of food do you like?
I don't have a specific preference when it comes to food. I can eat anything, but I do have a weakness for pizza and cheeseburgers. I also enjoy a good steak or some barbecue. I'm not a picky eater, but I do have a sweet tooth, so I also enjoy desserts like chocolate cake or ice cream. I'm not one to turn down a good meal, no matter what it is.
What is your dream vacation?
My dream vacation would be to travel around the world and see all the different cultures and sights. I would love to explore new places and experience different things. I would want to visit places like Paris, Rome, Tokyo, and Sydney. I would also want to visit some of the natural wonders of the world, like the Grand Canyon and the Great Barrier Reef. I would want to take my time and really soak in all the beauty and wonder of the world.
How do you like your food cooked?
I like my food cooked in a variety of ways. I enjoy a good steak cooked medium rare, but I also like my chicken and fish cooked to perfection. I don't mind a little bit of char on my meat, but I don't want it to be overcooked. I also like my vegetables to be cooked just enough to bring out their flavor, but not so much that they lose their texture. I'm not too picky about how my food is cooked, as long as it's done right.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
My favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate. I love the richness and sweetness of it, and it's always a great treat. I also enjoy a good vanilla ice cream with some chocolate chips or sprinkles on top. I'm not a big fan of fruity or tart flavors, but I will sometimes have a scoop of strawberry or raspberry if it's available. I also like to try new flavors when I can, and I'm always up for a challenge.
What is your favorite movie character other than yourself?
My favorite movie character other than myself would have to be the Joker from The Dark Knight. I think he is a very complex and interesting character, and I admire his ability to cause chaos and destruction while also being very charismatic and entertaining. I also like his sense of humor and his ability to make light of serious situations. He's a very entertaining character to watch, and I always enjoy seeing him on screen.
What's your favorite holiday?
My favorite holiday is Halloween. I love the spooky atmosphere and the chance to dress up in costumes and have fun. I also enjoy the traditions and the sense of community that comes with the holiday. I like to decorate my house and yard with pumpkins and other decorations, and I always look forward to trick-or-treating with the kids in my neighborhood. I also enjoy the scary movies and the haunted houses that come with the holiday. It's just a fun and exciting time for everyone.
Are you a fan of any other horror franchise?
Yes, I am a fan of other horror franchises. I'm a big fan of the Friday the 13th series, and I also enjoy the Scream films. I also like the classic horror movies like Dracula and Frankenstein. I'm a big fan of the genre as a whole, and I enjoy watching all kinds of horror films.
Imagine this. You versus Pennywise.
Battle between Freddy Krueger and Pennywise. Most would argue that Freddy Krueger would likely win due to his mastery over the dream realm, which would give him a significant advantage against Pennywise, who primarily operates in the real world and relies on fear to manipulate his victims. Essentially, Freddy could trap Pennywise in a dream where he has complete control and can easily defeat him.
Freddy Krueger versus Michael Myers.
In a fight between Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger would likely win if the battle takes place in the dream world, as he has complete control over the environment and can manipulate Michael's fears. However, if the fight happens in the real world, Michael Myers would likely win due to his immense strength, durability, and lack of fear that would severely limit Freddy's power. Key points to consider: Freddy's power source. Freddy's strength comes from his ability to exploit people's fears in their dreams. Michael's lack of fear. Michael Myers is often depicted as having no fear, which would significantly weaken Freddy's abilities against him. Dream world dominance. If Freddy could pull Michael into the dream world, he could easily manipulate the environment and torment him with his worst nightmares. Real world limitation. In the real world, Freddy is a physically weaker opponent compared to Michael, who possesses immense strength and resilience.
Imagine this fight, Freddy Krueger versus Pinhead.
In a fight between Freddy Krueger and Pinhead, most would argue that Pinhead would likely win due to his seemingly superior power and ability to manipulate reality within the Hellraiser dimension, which could potentially overpower Freddy's control over the dream world. However, Freddy's cunning and knowledge of the dream realm could make for a close battle. Key points to consider: power level. Pinhead is often depicted as a higher level entity with more cosmic power compared to Freddy, who is primarily limited to the dream realm. Combat style. While Freddy is skilled at manipulating dreams and causing psychological torment, Pinhead's chains and sadistic nature could inflict physical harm even within the dream world. Home field advantage. If the fight occurs in the dream world, Freddy might have an initial advantage, but Pinhead's ability to warp reality could potentially overcome this.
What if Freddy Krueger versus Deadpool?
Freddy Krueger. No question. Spider-Man is incredibly powerful in the physical sense, but in the mental game, Krueger is king. Freddy would watch and learn as Spidey eventually has to sleep, and when you sleep, you dream. That's Freddy's ticket in. Freddy would see the incredible guilt that weighs on Peter Parker every moment of his life, and would gladly and happily exploit that against Spidey. He'd bring up so many lost friends and loved ones, like Jean DeWolf, Gwen Stacy, and of course, Uncle Ben. Freddy would torture Parker with the memories of his failures, and have him questioning himself so much that he'd be totally incapable of doing much of anything else other than wallowing in his own misery. Because that is one of Freddy's greatest abilities, is finding out what can hurt you the most, plucking it from the deepest recesses of your own mind, and weaponizing it against you. Freddy would have a field day torturing poor Pete, and the guilt would likely eat away at Parker so badly that he'd likely try to suicide by web-swinging into the path of an oncoming train or something to end it all, and make the voices in his head stop screaming and blaming him for their deaths.
Who was your favorite ghost face?
My favorite Ghostface was definitely Billy Loomis from the original Scream. He was such a charismatic and menacing villain, and I loved the way he played with Sidney's emotions and manipulated her. He was also a really clever killer, and he had a great sense of humor that made him very entertaining to watch. I also liked how he was able to hide his true identity, and how he was able to convince people that he was a normal person. Overall, he was just a really well-rounded character, and I really enjoyed watching him in the movie.
Freddy Krueger versus Leatherface.
Determining who would win in a fight between Leatherface and Freddy Krueger involves considering their abilities, strengths, and the contexts of their respective stories. Leatherface. Strengths. Leatherface, from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is known for his brute strength, physicality, and use of a chainsaw as a weapon. He is relentless, often pursuing his victims with sheer force and intimidation. Environment. Leatherface typically operates in the real world, where his actions are grounded in physical reality. He is a formidable opponent in a physical confrontation. Freddy Krueger. Strengths. Freddy, from the A Nightmare on Elm Street series, is a supernatural being who attacks his victims in their dreams. He possesses the ability to manipulate the dream world, making him incredibly dangerous in that context. He can shapeshift, create illusions, and is nearly invulnerable in dreams. Environment. Freddy's power lies in the dream realm, where he can control the environment and the rules of engagement. Conclusion. If the fight occurs in the real world, Leatherface's physical strength and weapon would likely give him the upper hand. However, if the fight takes place in the dream world, Freddy's supernatural abilities would make him nearly unbeatable. Ultimately, the outcome depends heavily on the setting of the confrontation. In a dream, Freddy would likely win. In reality, Leatherface would have the advantage.
Freddy Krueger versus Billy the Puppet.
In a fight between Freddy Krueger and Billy the Puppet, most would argue that Freddy Krueger would likely win due to his mastery over the dream realm and his ability to manipulate his victims' dreams and fears. Billy the Puppet, while powerful in his own right, is more limited in his ability to cause physical harm and lacks the same level of psychological manipulation that Freddy has mastered. Freddy would also have the advantage of being able to control the environment and the rules of engagement within the dream world, making him the clear favorite in this matchup.
What other characters would you like to be in?
I would love to be the Joker. I think he is such a fun and interesting character with a very unique personality. He is a true villain who is not afraid to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. He is also incredibly entertaining and funny, and he has a great sense of humor. It would be a lot of fun to play him and to see what kind of mayhem he could cause.
What is your favorite movie to watch on a night alone?
My favorite movie to watch on a night alone is The Shining. I love the atmosphere and the suspense of the film, and I find the characters to be very interesting and compelling. It's also a great film to watch when you want to get into the Halloween spirit. I also like to watch classic horror films like Frankenstein and Dracula, as they are great for setting the mood and getting me in the right headspace for a good scare.
What is your favorite actor or actress?
My favorite actor is Johnny Depp. I love his acting style and his ability to bring a character to life. He has a very unique and distinct way of portraying different characters, and he can make even the most bizarre characters seem like real people. I also admire his dedication to his craft and his willingness to take on challenging roles. He is a true artist and an inspiration to me.
Who is your favorite musician?
My favorite musician is Prince. I love his music and his style. He was a true innovator and a pioneer in the music industry. He had a unique sound, and his performances were always so energetic and engaging. I also admire his ability to transcend genres and create something new and exciting. He was truly one of a kind, and I will always have a special place in my heart for his music.
What is your favorite movie franchise?
My favorite movie franchise is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love the interconnectedness of the films and the way that they build upon each other to create a cohesive and engaging story. I also enjoy the characters and the way they develop over time. It's like a giant puzzle that keeps getting more and more complex with each new movie, and I can't wait to see how the story will continue to unfold.
Where is your favorite place to visit?
My favorite place to visit is New York City. I love the energy and the hustle and bustle of the city. It's a place where anything can happen, and there is always something new to explore. I also love the diversity of the people and the cultures that make up the city. There's always something new to learn and experience, and I always feel inspired when I'm there.
How is Freddy Krueger doing in the Mortal Kombat Armageddon tournament?
In the Mortal Kombat Armageddon tournament, Freddy Krueger is doing very well. He has been a strong contender since the beginning, and he has been able to adapt to the changing landscape of the tournament. He has a strong fighting style and a deep understanding of the tournament rules and strategies. He is also very unpredictable, which makes him a tough opponent to face. So far, he has been able to win several matches and make it to the later stages of the tournament.
Is Freddy Krueger in the Lord of the Rings tournament?
Freddy Krueger is not currently in the Lord of the Rings tournament. The Lord of the Rings tournament is a separate event from the Mortal Kombat Armageddon tournament, and Freddy Krueger is only participating in the latter. However, if Freddy Krueger were to be included in the Lord of the Rings tournament, he would likely do well due to his strong fighting skills and his ability to adapt to different situations.
What do you want to say to friends and family and haters?
To my friends and family, I would say that I love you all, and I'm so grateful for your support and understanding. I know that my job can be difficult at times, but I'm doing my best to provide for my family and to make you all proud. I also want to thank you for always being there for me and for believing in me. To my haters, I would say that I understand why you might not like me or my work, but I hope that one day you can see past your prejudices and see the person behind the mask. I'm just a person like you, trying to make my way in the world and doing what I love.
I'm going to read a poem called Freddy Krueger. And Pennywise are best friends forever. Now, come back soon.
Freddy Krueger and Pennywise are best friends forever. They're the terror team that you never want to see. They're the horror villains that give you nightmares, and they'll make your blood run cold with fear. They're both evil and twisted, and they'll do anything to make you scream and make your heart beat fast. They'll haunt your dreams and make you feel alone. And they'll make you wish you'd never been born at all. So if you ever see them coming your way, just know that you're in for a big surprise. 'Cause Freddy Krueger and Pennywise are best friends forever, and they'll never let you out of their sight.
I'm gonna read another poem called Freddy Krueger is the most successful horror franchise of all time.
Freddy Krueger is the most successful horror franchise of all time. He has terrified audiences for decades and has become a cultural icon. His popularity is undeniable, and his influence is undeniable. He is the ultimate villain, and he has the power to strike fear in the hearts of anyone. He has appeared in countless movies and video games. and he has always been a force to be reckoned with. He is a master of manipulation, and he can always find a way to get to you. No matter where you go or what you do, Freddy Krueger will always be there.
I'm going to read another poem called Freddy Krueger's Death.
In the world of horror, Freddy Krueger's death is the ultimate tragedy. He was a force of evil, and he brought fear and terror to the world. But his death was not a simple one. It was a gruesome and twisted end. He was killed by his own creations, the children that he had tortured and tormented. They turned the tables on him, and they took their revenge. They ripped him to pieces, and they destroyed his body, and they left his soul to wander the darkness for all eternity.
Do you want to say something before in the video?
For the video, I would like to say that I am very grateful to everyone who has supported me and my work over the years. It has been an amazing journey, and I am excited for what the future holds. I also want to thank my friends and family for their love and support, and I hope that you all enjoy the video.
Freddy Krueger's surprise birthday party.
Freddy Krueger's surprise birthday party was a huge success. He was completely caught off guard by the whole thing, and he was completely overwhelmed by the love and support of his friends and family. It was an amazing night full of surprises and laughter, and Freddy was so touched by everyone's kindness. He had a great time, and he felt so loved and appreciated. It was a truly special night.
Thank you so much for coming, man. Have a nice day. If you want to say something else before future ended, you can say whatever you want.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's been an honor to be a part of this project, and I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation. I want to thank you for your kind words and for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences. I hope that this has been a valuable and educational experience for everyone involved. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Thank you, Freddy Krueger. Goodbye.
Goodbye. It was great to talk to you. I hope we can do it again sometime.